Backswing's not doing you justice. Those good momentum pumps. Not really getting the pump in your lat. That's because you're doing back day wrong. But if you're looking for 3 different supersets to help you grow your back, get some more definition, maybe some thickness, maybe even some width, stay tuned for these 3 supersets that you have to have on your back day. Our first superset, we're gonna go over lat pull down, and then we're gonna go over to the low row on the cable. So what this superset is gonna do for you, obviously the lat pull down in the name, it's gonna work our lats the most. Then we're gonna go over to the low row, which is gonna put some emphasis more on the mid back. Now always keep in mind that both of these are back exercises. So you are gonna feel fatigue, you're gonna feel tired when you're going to supersets, especially if you're someone who doesn't do supersets often. But what this will help you do, the muscle group that you're emphasizing the most on, it'll kind of give you a little rest on that, and then you can go back to the other one. So that's kind of the benefits of doing back with row, lat pull down movements, or pull up movement, where you know, the lat pull down or pull up is gonna help you get a little bit wider, work your lats a little bit more, and these row movements are gonna help you develop that inside of your back a little bit more. So first thing I'm doing when I come over to lat pull down, I'm making sure that I'm locked in position with this. My legs are not moving, I don't have any gap in space in between my legs and the pad. Then I'm using a weight that I don't have to swing. This right here is not a good rep. This is ridiculous. I could do this literally all day long. It's no tension at all on my lat muscles, no tension on my back. I'm just swinging the bar back and forth. So to fix that, you wanna make sure that when you go down, your chest kind of raises up towards the ceiling. So when I come down, I want to do a movement that's going to force me to squeeze my back muscles together. So raising my chest up to the ceiling is that movement that's going to make me do that. And then I can fight gravity going back up, put a little bit more tension on my back. We're going to come over here to the low row next. Now, like I said, the row exercises are going to help you add that thickness to your back. So we're gonna complement that with the lat pull down instead of doing something like, you know, a pull up, for example. Yes, a body weight exercise, but if you're trying to do pull ups in between this, you might get 10 or something like that at first, but throughout the set, as you get to set 3, 4, and 5, you're gonna start getting 2 and 3 and maybe even 1 at the end because you've exhausted that muscle group so much. So we're gonna pick something that you can adjust the weight on. So if I can't get, you know, 10 with 40 or 50, I can just lighten it to 20 or 30. But if I'm doing a pull-up, there's no way that I can lighten this load, you know, effectively to do it with the superset. Unless I have an assisted pull-up machine, you know, that's attached to the cable machine, then hey, that's a really good superset to add to your back day, you know, but right now I don't. So we're gonna substitute that with something like a low row so that we can make sure we're getting enough reps, and then we're also kind of putting the emphasis on a different part of our back, but we're still hitting our full back. So for this exercise, you want to make sure that when you come over here, you are getting in row form, which essentially is deadlift form. So when I come down, I want to make sure that I'm pushing my hips backward, slightly bending my knee, and I'm keeping a stable and straight back. My chest is tall, in the same position literally that we would be if we were in either a back row or a RDL. So now I'm just working my back from here with good tension. I'm making sure I'm not too far up and I'm not too far low down here, but I'm angled right where I can hit my back muscle, feel a good amount of tension going back and forth using good tempo. Second superset, we're gonna go from this seated cable row, which is gonna put more emphasis on the intersection of our back. Then we're gonna go over here to this cable and do some pullovers with the rope, which is gonna help us hit our lats a little bit more, put a little bit more tension on them than we did, you know, with the lat pull down. Like I was saying in the beginning, some of these exercises are really good exercises to add to your back day, but they shouldn't be the emphasis or focus. These seated cable rows, lat pull downs, barbell rows, those exercises where you can move a nice amount of weight under good tension, that's what's gonna help you grow your back. You know, these other exercises are great for hitting your back at different angles, you know, hitting some of the smaller muscle groups while hitting the bigger portions of your back, but never lose sight of these main exercises. With seated row, remember wherever I start off at, as far as my knees go, that's the position I'm gonna be locked in. That's why the seated row is good, because it locks your legs into a specific position that you set at the beginning. So if I'm here in the beginning of my set, I'm gonna stay here while I'm pulling. There's no movement or part of the movement that's gonna allow me to push myself back in the seat to get in the proper position. So I wanna make sure that I got a good bend in my knee right here, nothing too close and nothing too straight across. So once I got that, I'm pulling the weight, and I'm not coming all the way here. I'm just slightly leaning forward when I come to the end, and I'm opening up my chest and I'm pinching my back. Right here. I'm not coming all the way up here, over exaggerating this movement, and I'm also not over exaggerating the pull back this way. I'm making sure that when I come back and pull the weight, my back is straight up and down. My head is focused straight ahead and not downward and not too far up. It's gonna help keep your neck in a safe position. So then when I pull, I wanna make sure I'm squeezing my back muscles together, right here. Slightly leaning forward and then coming back. So biggest thing with the pullover is not turning this into a tricep exercise. It's really easy to turn some of these exercises into a different body part if you're not paying attention to where your joints are, your elbows, your shoulders, all those good things. So to keep the emphasis and the focus on back, I'm making sure that whatever position my elbows are in, they're locked into that position. And when I say they're locked in, this is not the position they should be locked out at, straight out. They should have a slight bend in it, almost like if you're doing a side raise or a front raise. I'm then again getting back over into an RDL-like stance position, and then I'm pulling down using my back muscle. When I come down, I wanna make sure that elbows do not move. They're staying the same the whole time. I'm putting the emphasis on my back, pulling this rope downward and squeezing. It's really easy if I move my elbows to turn this at the end of the movement into tricep and not get that last squeeze on my lat right there. So we're gonna hit a couple sets of those, and then we're gonna move on to the third superset. Last two exercises for the last superset we're gonna go through are both row movements. Now they're both row movements because typically in the gym, you don't really have much to superset with machines other than machines. So we're just gonna switch it up and do a machine. We're gonna bring a dumbbell over to the section, hit some dumbbell rows with it. So we're gonna row it out for the last superset, really try and get that back thickness. So you're gonna be exhausted, you're gonna be tired, so make sure you push through. So biggest things with the seated row machine is your chest position with the pad. Right here, the position I'm in, this pad is basically on my stomach. So that's not gonna help me maximize this movement, because when I pull back on here, my elbows are all the way up there. Now we're starting to get into a little rear delt work, putting our elbows all the way up here, and we don't want that. We kind of want them a little bit more tucked lower, so that way we can work on our back. So obviously we're just gonna move down the pad, or we're gonna move down the seat, so the pad is right on our chest. So when we're pulling back, we're right in line with our back muscles. So once I get here, I wanna make sure when I pull, my chest isn't leaving the pad. So if I pull this up and I'm coming back here, I'm defeating the entire purpose of doing this movement, because now I'm just momentum swinging it. My body is shifting the weight instead of my back. So I wanna make sure that my chest is right here with the pad. That's why we wanna make sure the seat is adjusted in the line. So when I pull back, my chest never leaves the pad. Opening up and leaving the pad, two totally separate things. So leaving the pad is like that. Opening up is here. I still have a relationship with the pad. It's not off of it. I'm just opening up my chest muscle. I'm just opening up my chest so I can squeeze my back together and pinch at the top of the movement better. But at no point does my chest actually come off the pad. That's where we start losing tension in our back. That's where we start momentum swinging and shifting the weight with our body. We're gonna superset that with some dumbbell rows. So my arm position, my back position, this right here is just to stable my back. So if I come all the way down here, or if I'm up here, somewhere within this range right here, my back position needs to be. All this serves, the only purpose it serves for is a stabilizer. So I just wanna make sure I'm not all the way up here, then I'm really defeating the purpose of the movement. So obviously I'm picking a weight I can do good tempo with, line myself up properly, and then I'm pulling this weight towards the back of my body and sending my elbow behind my body. I'm not curling it in here. sending my elbow outside my body. I'm making sure that the weight is reaching on the outside as well, which is gonna put my elbow in a nice position to put tension on my back. So how about some of that other stuff that you don't feel in your back the most? Or maybe if you're doing all lat focus emphasis movements, you swap in some of those exercises that are gonna help you with your mid back. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on the bottom. See you next time.